If you want to speak fluent English, you need three things: good pronunciation, a lot of vocabulary, and grammar accuracy. The first two things, pronunciation and vocabulary, can be easily learned if you just listen to English a lot. But grammar is where things get tricky for you. You try to speak, but you can't make sentences, or you make a lot of mistakes and you get stuck all the time. All of this can be solved if you just learn grammar the right way. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you today. But first, if you don't know who I am, my name is Asim Khan. I'm a polyglot. When I was in high school, I wanted to become fluent in English, but I didn't know how to do it. But after researching a lot, watching YouTube videos, reading books, articles, and listening to podcasts, I found strategies and methods that I implemented to achieve my goal. In this video, I'm going to share with you all of the things I learned in the last 4 years of being on this English learning journey. So let's begin. When it comes to becoming fluent, a lot of English learners are confused. They think, should I study English grammar or not? Is it important for fluency? Can I speak English fluently without studying grammar? Let's understand this. I think there are two aspects of grammar. One is written grammar. These are all the grammar rules that you see in books. Maybe when you watch YouTube videos, like you maybe see a teacher explaining the rules, the noun, pronoun, all of the tenses and the direct and indirect narration and all of that stuff. All of that stuff is written grammar. The other aspect of grammar is, I believe, the mental grammar. These are all the rules that we unconsciously learn through listening. Like most Americans don't know the written grammar, yet they can still speak English fluently. I will give you an example. My native language is Pashto. I've never ever read a grammar book in Pashto. I've never even seen a grammar book of Pashto. But still, I'm able to speak Pashto fluently. Clearly, I know grammar because if I didn't know grammar, I wouldn't be able to speak and make sentences in Pashto. But that's not the case. I can speak this language fluently because I know the mental grammar which I unconsciously learned from my parents and from my environment through listening. I'm gonna explain in a second how you can apply this to English as well, but first, as I said, my native language is Pashto. I've never read a grammar book in this language, yet I can still speak it fluently without a problem. This shows that for becoming fluent in a language, you don't need to memorize all of the rules from like books and videos and stuff. No, you don't need to do that. You can absolutely speak fluent English without memorizing and without studying all the grammar rules. Now you might say, is this possible with learning a second language? Because the first language is kind of easy, you learn it from your parents, but is this possible when we are learning English as an adult, not as a kid? Yes, it absolutely works. I've seen many of my friends, I've seen many students who didn't study the written grammar, who didn't study the grammar rules, yet they still got to the fluency, became fluent in English, and can hold conversations in English without any problem because they learned the mental grammar. I have a cousin who followed this exact same method. He started learning English like a year ago. He didn't know any grammar before, he didn't study or memorize grammar rules when he was learning English, and now he is at upper intermediate English level. Like I said, he doesn't know any grammar rules. He never learned them, he never studied them. He just learned the mental grammar without realizing it through a method which I'm going to show you. I used this exact same method as well and took my English from beginner to fluency level. To understand this, let's go back to the native language learning example. How do you think a child, a kid, learns a language? Have you seen a father buying grammar books for his 1 year old child? Probably not. Have you seen him taking his 1 year old kid to school for learning his first language? No, probably not. Because language learning happens through active listening. As we know, children are very curious. They listen to everything you say and then they try to copy you. And that's how they learn languages. Adults are no different. We learn everything, whether it's English or any other language, through active listening and by trial and error, which basically means practice and feedback. The point I'm trying to make here is that if you want to learn grammar the right way so that you become fluent in English, you need to listen to native speakers a lot. Whether you watch movies, YouTube videos, podcasts, TED Talks, interviews, animes and cartoon, whatever it is. Just pick something to watch or listen to and listen to it every single day. And the second thing is you need to open your mouth and speak. This will help you use and practice the structures which you learned unconsciously through listening. Without practice, all of the mental grammar you learned through listening is completely useless. It's a waste of time. Just like kids learn, they first listen to the people around them and then they try to copy them and speak like them without worrying about mistakes. So if you try to speak and you make mistakes here and there or you get stuck, don't worry about it. Just keep going, just keep practicing every single day. Because after all, English is not your first language. Mistakes are expected, so don't worry about them. This is basically how you learn grammar. You don't need to study and memorize all of the boring grammar rules. You don't need to do that. If you just actively listen to native speakers and you practice speaking, that's all you need. Once you learn grammar using the technique which I just shared with you today, the next thing you need to improve is your vocabulary. It's very obvious that the more words, the more phrases, the more idioms and expressions you know, the more fluent and the more articulate you will be. That's why watch this video in which I explained my vocabulary learning method in detail. Click here now. Okay, I hope this lesson was helpful. See you in the next one.